Just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know thus saith the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I love him, how I prove him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him. So we go up myself. I'm so glad. What key? That's C sharp. Okay, we ain't getting that one. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me. And it's how I love Jesus. Oh, because he first loved me. To me is so wonderful. To me is so wonderful. And to me is so wonderful. Yeah. There is a name I love to hear, I love to sing. It sounds like music in my ear, the sweetest name on earth. It's a tonight, and certainly it is my honor and privilege to be here. The hundreds of times that I have passed this church and never stopping and never really knowing the person whose name was on the sign, and some years back happening to come to know Elder Foster because of some misfortunes that had happened to him. That really was not his fault and or his doing, and I wasn't even sure why they came to me and said this is a problem, and I'm asking them, telling them I'm not the bishop, I'm not to this, I'm not to this. That's really not my problem. Right. Well, you know, he's got a problem. Well, I understand he got a problem, but I didn't tell him to do that. Y'all told me. That was part of the real conversation, okay? You know, I give you the church conversation, but I give you part of the real conversation. Part of the real conversation was, I didn't tell him to go out there. Y'all did. And y'all need to do what y'all supposed to do. Well, you know so-and-so. No, that ain't right. Y'all don't tell a man to do that. Tell a man pack his stuff up and go out there, and then you run into problems, and y'all walk off and leave him. You walk out, you don't tell a brother, go out and do such and such and such. And then you run into issues and you say, well, work it out. He wouldn't be there if you hadn't told him to go. Well, anyway, that's kind of how I got to know him. So I wasn't trying to know him. I wasn't trying to hang with him. I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to. Listen, he got the problem. I ain't got no problem. Anyway, now he is my, no. Love him, love his family, love his wife, and it is through him that I have met his parents, and honored to know them. And I say this very humbly and very honorably. He loves his dad. I mean, this boy will just do anything. He talks about it. He loves his dad. Now I know. If you real, fathers and sons clash. If you're real, now if you ain't real, that's fine. But fathers and sons, but heads, especially about things. But forget all that stuff. Trey loves his dad, and would do practically almost near anything that his dad would ask him. And so that pulled me that way. And then we were talking, and I found out that his mother's name is the same as my mom's name. Right. So now I just say it like this. I'm a mama's boy. I grew up playing street ball in the middle of the street with gravel and everything, and we played tackle. Now, I won't heal from those wounds like I used to heal. But if you think being a mama's boy makes me soft, get the football. So I ain't got no problem nobody understanding. I love my mama. I was in the dirt going at it hard one time, and she walked by and called Michael. I had to get up out the dirt, squabbling going on, and we were walking home. Why are you down there fighting? I said, because he called you a dog. Do I look like a dog? Am I walking on all fours like a dog? Do I bark like a dog? I said, no, but he still wasn't supposed to call you no dog. So I've always had mama issues, all right? I am glad to have been married for 43 years, 8 months, and 9 days to this lovely person. She is the mother of my only children. That girl told a story that wasn't mine. But anyway, she's the mother of my only children. I'm getting past some stuff, okay? Just getting past some stuff. But I thank God for her. I thank God for my children. I thank God for these men who serve us. Elder Clayton Wiley, who serves us. Elder Robert Calhoun, who serves us. And many of you know my son, Michael Clerkley Jr., who serves us. And other members who have come to join us on tonight from the Lighthouse family, and others of you that are here from the AFC family, and to Melanie Foster, elect lady of the Anointed Fellowship Church, daughter. See, I was going to call on you, but I just said I'd just go ahead anyway, because you just didn't even. The book of Philippians, chapter 3. I want to thank God for Elder Kelly here to serve on the organ on tonight, and others, as I said, the others that are here. Let me go ahead and do this part of what I've been asked to do. The book of Philippians, chapter 3, beginning at verse number 12. Not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which I am apprehended of Jesus Christ. Verse 13, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do. This one thing, this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded, and if in anything ye be otherwise minded, God shall reveal even this unto you. Nevertheless, whereunto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same thing. I want to speak to you from this subject, running for the prize. Running for the prize. Thank you for standing. Please be seated. Running for the prize. This examination of the Apostle Paul, think of all the reasons that Paul had to stick his chest out and crow about his life. He was handpicked to be the apostle to the Gentiles. God was using him to record the inspired word of God. He was a tremendous soul winner, preacher of the word. It seemed that Paul had all his ducks in a row and was making grade. Anyone looking at his life would conclude that Paul had arrived. However, he knew the truth that he had not arrived and was working toward the goal, the ultimate goal of Christ likeness. That's our goal. Yes. Christ likeness. Right. Paul's response to his own life was a mark of spiritual maturity, a process of maturing, becoming more like him. And we've got to beware, we've got to be conscious, be cautious of people who act like they've already made it. He realized he wasn't perfect, and he wasn't content to let that cause him to sit still and be still. Too many people get discouraged with life and with living, and they just quit. It's not a matter of if we're going to fail, but rather when we're going to fail. Yes. But we cannot let failure define our lives. We can't allow failure to cause us to drop out of this race. We cannot allow failure to become our nickname. If you have fallen, get up, dust yourself off. Do like Mama did. Mama just take some spit, put it on that spot, kiss it, and send you on back out there to play. Paul's examination, and let's go to Paul's exertion, how he went forth. Paul says, first of all, I follow. Literally to run swift in order to catch a person or a thing. It's a reference to a hunter pursuing his prey. It has the idea of the runner chasing toward the finish line. Whatever the goal, the picture is of pursuit. For Paul, it was the hope of apprehending something. The apprehend is to lay hold on. Paul says, I'm running to lay hold on something. There is a goal in mind. There is a purpose in mind. He didn't just save me to save me. He saved me with a purpose. Says, I'm pursuing the goal of laying hold of all that Jesus has laid hold on of me, realizing that he had been saved and God had a plan for his life. And so the question tonight is, what are you doing about God's plan? Do you even know the plan of God for your life? Sometimes people get saved and understand the grace that comes with salvation, and they just become SOS, stuck on saved. Saved, I confessed, I got it together, he saved me, I'm good. And they just SOS, stuck on salvation. I ain't trying to do no better, not trying to aspire. They're just right there, just saved. As long as I can come Sunday morning and hear, just give me a word, Doc. They good. They stuck on salvation. As long as they just come and sing their song in the choir, they all right. They just say they stuck on salvation. Don't call me on Monday because the blues guys start talking about Blue Monday. Yeah, stormy Monday, yeah. And we don't include Jesus on Monday because Monday is stormy and Tuesday's just the same. But anyway, y'all don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, y'all don't know that song. But anyway, we just kind of get SOS stuck stuck on saved as though now that I'm saved, I have nothing else to do. He didn't save me to be a janitor. I'm just saved. He didn't save me to be an usher. I'm just saved. He didn't save me to come and save the church a little money and cut the yard. I'm just saved. He didn't save me to come and help the friends at the church. He just saved me. We just really get to the point to where we just glad we're saved. But God expects more. We ought to give him more. We sometimes sing songs that we need to stop singing. Falling in love with Jesus is the best thing I've ever done. In his arms, I feel protected. In his arms, never been rejected. Falling in love with Jesus. We may need to stop singing that song because we don't love him like we used to do. Big Mama and them could sing some songs, but Big Mama and them lived the songs that they talked about when they sung to us. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege it is to carry everything to God in prayer. They didn't just sing that song. They practiced that song. When bills were due, they went to the Lord in prayer. When children were hard-headed, they went to the Lord in prayer. When there were no more children than there were beans in the pot, they took it to the Lord in prayer. When they had more bills than they had money, they just said, precious Lord, take my hand. They wasn't just a song. What a friend. We just sometimes just get stuck on saved.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Paul was in pursuit with all of his heart. Let nothing satisfy you but satisfying him. That should be our goal. Let nothing satisfy you but satisfying him. That should be the goal. Let nothing satisfy you as a Christian other than satisfying him. You ought to have the best job that you can, but that should not be your satisfier. You ought to have the best income that you can, but that should not be your satisfier. You ought to live in the best house that you can, but that shouldn't be the satisfier. You should have these things, but those should not be the satisfier. I'm pressing on this upward way, new heights I'm gaining each and every day, still praying as I'm all but bound. Lord, plant my feet on. Anyway, I follow after. And then he said, this one thing I do, like the Olympic athlete. Paul specialized in the one thing, and that was reaching the goal. Notice he left the past behind him and reached for the future. Man excels when he specializes. If you want to know the secret of his success, is that Paul had a one-track mind. Nothing was more important to him than pleasing the Lord. One of the problems with this generation is they can't find their focus. They're here 1 minute and there another minute. The one thing I do, that's what Paul talks about. He's not pulled in 1,000 directions. It is simply one goal in life and only one thing that's going to satisfy him, and that is satisfying the one who satisfies him. Then thirdly, forgetting those things which are behind, Paul says, I refuse to look behind at my past. The word forgetting here means to cease to be affected by. To cease to be affected by. Forgetting is to cease to be affected by. If you run with your eyes on your past success, then you will have the tendency to lay back and rest on your accomplishments. If you run with your eyes on your past failures, then you will tend to stay back for fear of falling again. But there is another thought that needs to be mentioned here as you run for the Lord. Stop looking at how other people are running. There's always going to be somebody who can outrun you, and there's always going to be somebody who can outsing you, and there's always going to be somebody who can out-pray you, and there's always going to be somebody who can out-usher you. But God did not call you to compete against anybody. He simply called you to complete. Church is not supposed to be about competing, but completing. I have a job to complete. God has given me an assignment, and I well. I need him to hear him say, well done. And he doesn't say, well done until it's done. The chicken ain't done till it's done. It ain't done because you put it in the grease. It's not done because you flip it over. It's not done because it's golden brown. It's not done till the heat and the grease gets all the way down there to the bone and keeps it with God. I'm sorry. Forgetting those things which are behind. And then he said, reaching forth. This gives the phrase, a picture of a runner as he nears a finish line. And he leans forward to strain for the goal. Paul says, I'm reaching out for everything that I have. We've got to be careful. Yes, I'm ready. We've got to be careful that we are always reaching forth under those things that God has for us. And then he says, I press toward the mark. The word mark refers to the goal that one has in his view. Paul was oblivious to the surroundings because he was headed for the goal. It was his determination to finish well. Notice at the end of his journey, he says, I'm ready to be offered. The time of my departure is at hand. I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. And I finished my course. I realized that I can't get my crown till I finish this journey. I realize I don't get my golden slippers till I finish this journey. I realize that I don't get my wings till I finish this journey. I realize there's no sense in me singing swing low sweet chariot, stop and let me ride. It's not over for me. God is not through working with me yet. There's some more things God wants to do in my life. Please keep praying for me. Please keep holding me up. Please don't give up on me. Can I tell you that there is an expectation that Paul is not simply running just because he's in good shape. He is not just running because he's a younger person. He's not just running because that's what the church said. But he's running because there is a prize. He knew the Lord had called him and called him for a reason. They called him crazy, but they kept on preaching. They said too much learning has made you mad, but he kept on preaching. They whipped him, but he kept on preaching. They allowed him to be shipwrecked, but he kept on preaching. Friend walked away, but he kept on preaching. He had his eyes on the prize. Is there anybody here that got the eyes on the prize? I'm not waiting for the president to call my name. I'm not waiting for the superintendent to call my name. I'm not waiting for the moderator to say anything to me. Bye. When the morning comes, one of these old days, call my name. One of these old days, get out of the wheel. I need to quit. But can I say to you that there are things that happen? 25 years hasn't been easy. 25 years has not been a walk through the tree of God. 25 years felt like throwing in the towel. 25 years felt like giving up. 25 years. Felt like letting go. 25 years. God, you made a mistake. 25 years. God, the people won't listen. 25 years. God, the people won't cooperate. 25 years. We can't make the budget. 25 years. I got more folk leaving than I got coming in. 25 years. The deacon's trying to run me, and I can't hear what you saying, Lord. 25 years. The mothers have stopped praying. The ushers have stopped ushering. 25 years. The choir no longer sings the Zion song. 25 years. The praise team has turned the hymns into hootenannies. 25 years. The cross around that neck ain't nothing but a lucky charm. 25 years. The Bible no longer is a Bible. 25 years. God, were you sure this is what I'm supposed to do? Dr. Foster, we're often tossed and driven on the restless seas of time. Some skies and howling tempests all succeed a bright sunshine. In that land, a perfect day, when the mist has rolled away, we'll understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes. By and by, when the work is done. By and by, when I see his face. By and by, I'll understand why they stretch him. I'll understand why he bled and died. I'll understand why. I need to quit. There are 5 crowns. There are 5 crowns. There's a runner's crown, imperishable. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9, the runner's crown is given to the believer who exhibits self-control and temperate in all things. Then there's a soul winner's crown. It's the crown of joy from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 is given to those who win souls. Then thirdly, there's a crown of righteousness, the anticipator's crown. 2 Timothy 4 is given to believers who faithfully wait and look for the coming of Jesus. And then there's a crown of life that's given to believers who endure suffering in a noble way. Is given to believers who are persecuted, people who go through, people who stay there, people who hang in there. That's the crown of life. And there is a crown of glory. That's the preacher's crown. It's given to the preacher. Y'all can't get the crown of glory, but the preacher gets a crown of glory for being a faithful shepherd who endures hardness, despite the storm, who endures the trials, in spite the journey. Hangs in there. Keep opening the Bible. Exodus, Deuteronomy, chapter 2 Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalm, Proverbs. You gotta preach the whole book. You can't leave none out. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You can't leave none out. You gotta preach them Philemon. You gotta preach. First, second, and third John. You gotta preach. Jude, and hang in there. Cause you gotta preach. Revelation. Tell them he's coming back. Tell them he's on his way. Tell them hang in there. Tell them it ain't over till God says it's over. Hang in there. He'll work it out. He'll work it out. Hang in there. Hold on to God's unchanging hand. After a while. I just need to remind you that serving the Lord will pay off after a while. Just keep working while it's day. Yes, Lord. For whatever is right, he said he's going to pay. You may not get but $100, but keep on working. You may not get but $1,000, keep on working. You may not get but this or that, but keep on working. Get yourself set and fixed. David said, I will lift mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord. He will not suffer me to be moved. He that keepeth Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is my keeper. He is a shade upon my right hand. Does not smite me by day, nor the moon by night. Hang in there. I know that before I tried him. You work it out. I tried him. He proved himself. You work it out. I waited on him. They that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. Say it now. It's gonna be all right. Yeah. It's gonna be all right. I've had some good days. I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days. And some sleepless nights. But Mama Helen, when I